If you are curious about what the lifestyle is like for a married soldier in the United States Army, stick around. What's up, friends? I'm U.S. Army veteran Christopher Chaos, and last week I talked about the lifestyle of a single soldier in the Army, and in this episode I'm talking about the married lifestyle of a soldier in the United States Army. Now, keep in mind that yes, the lifestyle of a married soldier is different, but there are some cases where a single soldier falls into the same category as a married soldier, and I'll explain that. So first off, obviously you have married soldiers, but in today's Army you can have a married soldier that is married to the same sex or the opposite sex. You can also have situations where a soldier is married to a civilian or a soldier is married to another soldier. Now, in the instance of a soldier being married to another soldier, pay works a little bit different. I believe one of the soldiers receives full benefits while the other soldier receives only partial benefits, as far as pay anyways, because there is some extra benefits with pay that you get as a married soldier, but most of the benefits are fairly the same for both soldiers that are married to each other. But we'll kind of go a little bit in depth with certain other things. I won't really dive too much into the situation of a soldier being married to another soldier. But other than the obvious of a soldier being married and having this lifestyle, there's also other individuals that live that same lifestyle that a married soldier would live. And that's going to be people that are officers or warrant officers, as well as enlisted soldiers that are from the rank of E6 and above. Now, in my single video, I talked about how E6 and above will live out of the barracks, but in some instances, E6's staff sergeants do still live in the barracks. It just really depends on how full the barracks are. I've had situations where I've seen staff sergeants living in the barracks because they had plenty of room for soldiers, so they wanted the staff sergeants living in the barracks, and then other situations where the barracks are pretty full, so they have the staff sergeants live off post, and then it's sergeant first class and above. They were receiving extra pay and living off post or maybe even on post if available. And then the other category of soldiers that would be living essentially the same lifestyle as a married soldier is those individuals that have children. Now, they can either be still with the parent or they could be single mothers or fathers that just have custody of a child. So now let's talk about some of the key things that really make up the lifestyle of a married soldier or soldiers that fall into that category. One of the key things I see soldiers rush into marriage is for the extra pay and to get out of the barracks. And those are a couple of the key things that come along with that lifestyle. Married soldiers and soldiers that are living off post receive what is called BAH, which stands for Basic Allowance for Housing. Now, this is a monthly pay that soldiers receive in addition to whatever they're getting paid based on their rank. The amount that a soldier could be receiving for BAH just depends on their rank as well as their location. Now, also keep in mind, if a soldier is living on post housing, they do not receive BAH, but I'll talk about that in a little bit as well. So since it does vary based on your rank and your location, I'm going to give you the example of let's say a brand new soldier who is an E1 stationed on Fort Carson, maybe living inside of Colorado Springs, Colorado. Also be aware these rates fluctuate year to year, but as of 2018, an E1 living in the Colorado Springs area could expect to receive about $1,500 per month if they have children, and $1,200 a month if they do not have children. Now, if you want to find out what the BAH rate could be for your area or for the area that you're looking to be stationed at, I'm going to leave a link down in the description that has the link to the calculator to figure out based on pay grade and zip code what the BAH rate is for that area. But the intent of BAH is to offset soldiers' costs for living off post. So this can either apply to, paying for rent, for paying for a mortgage, because soldiers could potentially buy a house. It is a little bit of a risky thing sometimes because a soldier might buy a house and then come up on orders to have to go somewhere else, and then they have to make the decision to either sell the house off, have someone else live in it, or maybe even rent it out. But the BAH could be used for either or, either paying for rent or paying for a mortgage. Now, soldiers do have the option of living on post if they wish and if it's available. If they elect to live on post, they do not receive BAH though, however. So typically when a married soldier arrives to their duty station, they can either request for on-post housing or, say, hey, we're not going to do that. I'm going to be living off-post and I've already got some place lined up maybe. But on-post housing is based on availability, and some installations at different locations may have, open slots for on-post housing, and other locations may be really full for on-post housing. So a lot of times soldiers may have to get on a waiting list, or they might just get right into a house right away. It just kind of depends on the location and if they have the available housing for those soldiers or not. But if there isn't availability on post, then the soldier goes on a waiting list, and when it becomes available, then they notify the soldier that, hey, this housing area is available to you if you wish. Now, housing areas are different based on rank at most locations, if not all. They usually have a different housing area for like E4 and below, and then a different housing area for E5 and above for enlisted, and then senior enlisted, and then as well as officers. So in my experiences from what I've seen, usually the E4 and below ones aren't the greatest. They're kind of like duplexes or apartments. I mean, sure, they're a good roof over your head, but they're nothing really fancy. Sometimes they have very small backyards, sometimes no front yard at all. Also, usually just have maybe either a driveway or you have to park your vehicle out in front of the housing. Whereas E5 and above and officers usually have a nicer type of house where it's got a garage to park your vehicle in. It's a nicer looking home that's got a good backyard and a front yard. So rank does have its benefits when it comes to on-post housing, so sometimes that's something the soldiers have to factor in. If they're a lower ranking soldier and they're in an area where maybe a nice apartment isn't too expensive, they can use their BAH to get a nicer apartment, then they might get on post for on-post housing at their rank. And then when they climb the ranks, maybe get up to a sergeant or a staff sergeant, maybe they get on-post housing because it's a better place than what they could get for what they get for BAH off-post. Other things that determine usually if a soldier wants to do on-post housing compared to off-post housing is just the convenience of being on post. Some people like that convenience of easily getting to work, maybe utilizing the commissary, the PX, and all that kind of amenities that they have on base. And some people would rather live off post because they want to get away from all the soldiers and all the military kind of, area. Plus, they do say that, living on post, you could be subject to like inspections from your command, even though I don't think I've ever seen it, but it doesn't mean it doesn't happen out there. As well as on post is kind of strict with certain things, like if you don't keep your grass, cut, if you don't keep your yard well maintained, they can give you fines. So sometimes people just don't want to deal with that and they just choose to live off post, but soldiers do have the option to either live on post or off post for those that fall into this married category. So next let's talk about BAS, which is Basic Allowance for Subsistence. Now technically all soldiers receive this, and I didn't really mention it in the single soldier video because single soldiers, you'll see it on their pay stub, but it gets taken out. So it never hits their bank account. It's really like they never even received the thing. There is some stuff that they can do to request to receive BAS from their leadership, but it's kind of hard to get approved for that, so I'm not going to really explain that process. We're just going to talk about BAS for those soldiers that do fall into that married category. So BAS is a set amount. It doesn't matter based on your location or whether or not you have children. It will fluctuate from year to year, but as of 2018, expected to be about $370 for an enlisted soldier and $255 for an officer. The intent of BAS is for the actual soldier, not the family. So it's supposed to offset the cost of food for the actual soldier, not to try to provide money to provide food for their family. That is simply just what the paycheck is for, or maybe your other spouse working, but BAS is for the soldier only, really. Now, if you budget properly, maybe you can use it to feed your whole family. That's fine too. It's not like they know how you're using the money or whatever, but just know that, if you're thinking, $350, $370, whatever, isn't enough to feed me and my family of 5, what the heck, Army? It's not intended for you and your entire family. It's intended for you only. This is something that is paid monthly and is in addition to BAH and your pay based on your rank. So as you can see, a married soldier or a soldier living that married lifestyle does earn more than a single soldier. That's why a lot of times I see soldiers rushing into marriage, because they want to earn more money. Another key thing with married soldiers is when they go to another duty location. You may come up on orders to go to another part of the United States, maybe to another country, and married soldiers have the opportunity to be able to bring their spouse with them if it is an unaccompanied assignment. There's also assignments that are called unaccompanied, and that means you cannot bring your spouse with you. Obviously, deployments would be one of those, but that's something maybe like Korea sometimes. Sometimes Korea is either accompanied or unaccompanied. Usually, if it's accompanied, then it's a 2-year or more tour, where if it's unaccompanied, usually it's a year or less. And there are other installations that are kind of like that, usually overseas installations, not usually stateside installations that are like that. Usually those ones you're allowed to bring your family member with you, your spouse, and your children. Whereas the single soldiers, they don't really get that option. Their boyfriend or girlfriend or whoever is just gonna have to pay out of their pocket if they wanna move to that location of where that soldier is going. Otherwise, they sometimes rush into marriage so that they can, bring their spouse with them. And married soldiers also, are allotted a lot more for being able to move their stuff to their new duty location. Single soldiers only have a few things, a TV, some, personal items, where a married soldier, has a family, so they have a couch and bed and, all sorts of other stuff that they have to bring with them. So they're allotted a lot more to bring during transportation, which the Army pays for and takes care of. And that also goes for when you're showing up for your first duty location. If you are married and new in the Army and you need to move your household goods from where you're living before you join the Army to where you're going for your first assignment, the Army can move all that stuff for you, and including, I think, 1 or 2 vehicles. I'm not sure on the vehicle policy, and then it also kind of changes if you're going overseas too. Usually they allow you to bring, I think, 1 vehicle overseas if you're doing an accompanied tour. And that's only to certain locations. Like, I don't think they let you bring them to Korea, but they will allow you to bring a vehicle to like Germany. And I'm not too sure how the situation works for those single parents. I've known a few people that, you know, are single parents in the Army, and they usually just stayed at one duty location for their entire time in the military. There is another situation I know of where a soldier that was a single parent brought their child with them to a new duty location, but that child was a little bit older, and I don't think they had any kind of custody agreement with the father of the child. So it may just kind of depend on different situations like that. If you have to share custody of a child, then they may not move you away from that location that would prevent you from having to either separate from that child or the other person not be able to meet their requirements. So those cases, you may just be stuck in one location if you have a custody deal like that. But if you don't have any kind of arrangement, then they may be open to moving you around. I'm not too sure, but if you have any experience out there, any of my viewers have any experience with being a single parent in the military and how it works for PCS and moving to another location, please leave me some comments down below. I'd love to hear more about how those situations work that I'm not too familiar with. Another big thing for married soldiers is the medical benefits. Now, you'll hear probably people make jokes about it in the comments and everything because, you know, there are situations that do happen. Sometimes it's just a joke, but it is a real life kind of situation that you'll see happen where a person will take advantage of a soldier to get married to them and receive the medical benefits. As soldiers and their spouses do receive free medical. Now, of course, the soldier is covered, but their spouses and their children are covered through basically the Army's health insurance called TRICARE. TRICARE allows those individuals to be able to get treatment like on post and, if authorized, off post as well. But for example, a family in the military can have a child for free, no cost. There is no cost for the labor, for the medical expenses at the hospital, and all that stuff. So normally a $20,000, $10,000 doctor bill in the civilian world is free when you're in the military having a family. So those medical benefits can be a very good kind of plus for soldiers that are married in the military, being able to provide that free medical costs to their spouse, to their children. And that also goes for dental and vision as well. Now, there is more to like the married lifestyle. There's things like mandatory FRG meetings, you have separation pay, there's all sorts of things. There's geographical bachelors, but these are just kind of the key things I wanted to hit on to kind of give you an idea of what the married lifestyle of a soldier could be like. But for my active duty military and veteran viewers, please leave some comments down below. Let me know what you feel are some key things that are different from the single soldier lifestyle compared to the married soldier lifestyle. But for my viewers out there that are not in the military, whether you plan to or not, let's play a fun little game of going to the link down below that has that BAH calculator. And for the rank of an E1, enter your zip code. Let me know in the comments where you're from and what your BAH rate would be for your area. I'd be curious to see what areas have higher BAH rates compared to others. I think like the San Francisco area and New York area has a pretty high BAH rate, but I think it'll be fun to read about it in the comments, to hear people's comments about where they're living at right now, what area, and what the BAH rate is for that area. If you want to support my Patreon, we have some extra perks, some additional stuff that I do on Patreon compared to my channel. You can visit patreon.com/ChristopherChaos. But if you like this video, hit that thumbs up button. You want to check out some more videos from me, I got these guys right over there. Click on one, go ahead. And if you are not yet subscribed to my channel and you want more content like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Christopher Chaos, and I will see you next time. See ya.